Welcome back to Tommy's Tune-Ups. Look at that nice wiring job. Much better. While I'm waiting for parts for the 1978 Elan Twin, I figured I might as well dive into the electrical. Very nice. So it looks like it's got original wiring on the motor, and it's just the wiring on the sled itself that's kind of been hacked to bits. To try and make this a bit easier, I'm just going to cut all the zip ties that are holding all this wiring to the frame. It does really seem like there's way too many wires here for what it's actually going on. Some of these have been cut pretty short, but I'm just going to try my best. Hopefully I can solder this back on here. We got to be real careful just from moving around the harness a little bit to fix it. I already have one wire break off. It's no big deal. I can put a new end on it. But the method to my madness here is starting at the top and working my way down, and I'm just eliminating any unnecessary wiring or connections, as well as trying to restore this back to factory. So I put the actual key switch back on. I do think it's okay. Maybe the broken wire was what was giving me an issue before. I'm going to put a new end on there. So these are a little different than what was originally on there, because the original one, if you can see, it's got a little tang on the back, and that helps it stay in the switch. But the new ones, they're smooth. Those are all nice and secure now, so I'm going to put this back on. Through process of elimination and reconnecting everything starting from the dash down, I was left with a yellow with a brown, and it's supposed to go directly to the tail light. So I came down and looked at where the feed goes to the tail light, and there's one connected to the voltage regulator, and then I have one that's a orange with a white stripe going into this plug. So that makes sense. So I'll have to make a new wire from here to go to there. But then I also noticed that this plug is broken off. So get a little creative, but I'll figure it out. So this is how I made a new plug per se. So if you ever unplug the seat and you want to plug it back in, you don't have to guess which way the wires have to go, because they can only go one way, right? You just do this, but opposite on the seat side, and away you go. I was able to eliminate a bunch of wiring and redundant connectors. I'm going to do the same thing here. So what somebody's done is they've jumped from the male side to the female side of the plug without actually plugging it in. I don't know why. I really don't know why. But I got everything else figured out. I'm going to fix up the headlight wiring as well. I'm going to put that in some loom, pull it off the machine. But it's looking much better now. Onto this. Fancy, fancy. After a couple hours of head scratching and soldering, I was able to get this wired up properly again. So now it's the exact same way as it was when it came out of the factory, only the correct number of plugs, which is 2. It doesn't need 3, no extra jumpers. You could disconnect them at the plugs and the engine would come right out just the way it should. So that's awesome. And of course, we still have spark. Everything looks good. And I'm so impressed by how the coils look. I'm really excited to see what the points look like